Hey up everybody, welcome back to the Audi Cycling YouTube channel, where today I'm going to be taking a look at my Superclasico results from this year in a bit of a review of the 2022 season. Superclasico is probably one of the better competitions for me throughout the year. Of course it is a very long competition, starting in Stradie and all the way going through until October time. I want to show you where I sort of picked up good results and where I perhaps dropped some points as well, because overall I finished in 28th position, which I think is really good considering that last year I think I finished outside the top 100, so I'm very happy with this result. Stradie was probably not the greatest start in comparison to previous years where I've done quite well in Stradie. I didn't pick Pogacar rather foolishly, and of course he won. We did get a couple of okay riders in Velens and Simmons who finished inside the top 10, but Benoit crashed and Alaphilippe crashed, so it wasn't particularly great overall. But we're out 30 odd races, so I'm going to fly through these a bit quickly. Milano Torino, we got Cav and some other good sprinters finishing inside the top 1000, so that was pretty good. Milano San Remo, I was really close to getting a good result here with the likes of Søren Andersen going with Pogacar and Wout van Aert. And then the Bruges de Pan, again, that was a pretty good result, 190th. We've got Merlier, Groenewegen, Kooi. Pretty much everybody's scoring really highly apart from Cav, which is a bit disappointing. So only really one rider away from getting a fantastic result there. E3 we had Laporte, but that was about it. We had Turgis and Asgreen scoring okay, but we missed Wout van Aert and also quite a few of the riders in that second group. Gent-Wevelgem, we did have Binny, so that was a pretty good result, but I think quite a lot of people had him because he was 8 points, so therefore pretty easy to get onto a team. And then we had Wout van Aert. The lead didn't make it, which is a bit disappointing, and generally just, I think I backed too much of the pure sprinter in Jakobsen, and Hausler was a bit of a missed one. I'm not really sure why I went with that. Dwars was a good one because we had Van der Poel, Turner, Kung, Pogacar, Søren all scoring. Van School was just a 4-pointer, so a good result. Very happy with this. I don't think I would have changed much in reality. I think that was a pretty good team from me. Hollanda, again, good result. Backed Campenarts maybe a bit foolishly. Mohoric as well might have been a bit foolish. Didn't go with a Pogacar thing again, but still some good scorers, finishing inside the top 1000 for a monument. It's not too bad, and just kind of racking up the points slowly. Scheldepres was an absolutely wild race, but we did have Christoph, which is a good one. And then we had Phillips and then Deli and Mazzato just finishing the race, so that was alright. 200 odd, so happy with that again. Amstel, I always find Amstel quite a hard one to predict because it has a mix of riders, but we did have Van der Poel scoring highly, and then also just some lowish scorers like Matthews, Madouas, Pacher, Tratnik. But yeah, we didn't have Kwiatkowski or Kuznetsov just because I didn't see any form trend in them to be kind of give me reason to pick them, so I missed out on those, but I think quite a lot of people did as well just because they kind of came out of the blue a bit. Brabant-Sipel, again, Kuznetsov, Pidcock scoring, and Matthews. Didn't have Magnus Sheffield, didn't have Ben Turner, didn't have Evenepoel, so we finished outside the top 1000. Not a great result, but I think again quite a hard one to predict. A lot of people picked Sheffield, and obviously I think I should have done as well, so a bit disappointing there. But then we flipped this round with Roubaix, where we finished 26th in the world for Roubaix. Probably my best classics result of the year is Roubaix, so I'm really proud of this one. We had, of course, Van Baarle winning, Kung on the podium. We had Turner who finished like 11th, Van der Poel finished top 15 or something, Louvel finished about top 15 as well. Asgreen, a little bit disappointing. I thought that Quickstep would do better. I thought he would bounce back considering that he looked so good at Amstel, but of course that didn't happen. If it wasn't for Asgreen and we went for somebody else, we could have definitely been competing for the win. La Flèche, not too bad, 350th. Didn't have Dylan Turns, which is again a bit foolish, but we did have everybody scoring a decent amount of points, which just meant that we consistently just picked up a pretty decent spot there. Liège, I finished 100th. I actually forgot I finished 100th here. Of course, didn't have Evenepoel, but did have, again, just very consistent scorers. Didn't have Guerrero scoring, so that would have been really the thing which we would have improved on. I'm not really sure who we could have picked. Maybe Quentin Hermans could have gone in there, but we would have been below 100 points at that point. Eschborn, not a good one for me. Nearly 2000, just wasn't really sure who to pick. Bennett did really well here, so I was just really confused to who to go with. I went with Binny and Christoph, so I'm not really sure why I did that. Definitely need to not try and kind of stack up on the same teams in the future. Then the Grand Prix du Morbihan. Again, not great. I think Julien Simon won this. I was tempted to pick him, but I didn't. Just picking up some consistency with Stewart and Christoph. But again, I went a bit ballsy with like Jason Tesson, which I'm not really sure why I did that. So again, need to just not pick these kind of completely wild riders. Trouble Leon was a good one because we got Hofstetter and Swift. Vermeersch, of course, punctured, so he didn't finish that highly. And then Stewart, Simon, and Christoph didn't do anything. So we finished quite highly, considering it was such a chaotic race. But definitely, it would have been helpful if Vermeersch didn't have that puncture. That's for sure. Brussels Cycling Classic. I think this one was really rainy. I think that Dali did really well here. And I did just terribly. I only got Christoph Groves and Melia scoring. Again, a bit late to the Bennett party. I thought Hofstad would do better. I backed Viviani quite a few times this year, which I shouldn't have done because he didn't have a particularly good one. Dwars het Hageland, we finished 700th. Some pretty decent ones. We picked Thibaut Nace, obviously, bit of an outside kind of left field. Definitely did okay here, but perhaps shouldn't have backed Thibaut Nace at the end of the day. San Sebastian, 70th overall, another really good one. Of course, Pogačar dropped out of a race, I think, pretty early on, but I wasn't going to go into this race without him after being burnt by him so many times this year. But some good riders in Evenepoel, Rodriguez, Skelmoser, and Simon Yates. Rodriguez and Skelmoser both being 6-point riders, so very happy with those ones. I'm fairly certain I strongly recommended those to you guys. Circuit Franco-Belge, I think it was one which, Christoph won, Campenarts in that front group, so very good consistent scoring around there. Finished 46th in the world in that one, so really happy with that. I think I remember that race really well. European champs, we've got the podium, we've got Merlier, Jakobsen and Damar on the podium, and we've got everybody else really inside like the top 15 or so really happy with that. But I think a lot of people had some really good teams here because we finished 130th despite having all those high scorers. The Beamer Classic. Didn't have Wout van Aert again, really foolishly. Didn't do a very good result here. Backed Viviani again, shouldn't have done that. Although he was very close to that front group, to be fair. I thought Jonathan Milan would be alright, but he's just 4 points. Damar, bit disappointing as well. So is Laporte, but of course he was working for Wout van Aert. So needed to back Wout a bit, and I think then we did pick Wout van Aert for the Britannia Classic, which we got him here. Pick Campenarts, but I should have gone with Dali. Matthews was disappointing here. Madouas was looking strong but didn't get the results in the end, so a bit disappointing in Britannia Classic, but at least we had Wout. The Maryland Classic, this one was just crazy. I wasn't even sure who to pick, but we did okay in the fact that we had Court and Piccolo, but then kind of the big guys didn't really do too much, so I think overall I was never really going to pick Sepp van Mark, so with that I was relatively happy with the result that we've got. Quebec, first of the Canadian races, again, good result here, 45th in the world. Wout van Aert, Binny, Matthews, Bettiol, of course didn't have Kuznefroid, but I wasn't really ever thinking about picking him, so very strong result there, very happy with that. Montreal didn't do quite as well, finished 288th, but still a good result. Wout, Yates, Monique, Bilbao, Bettiol and Tratnik didn't do that great, could have picked some other people. Grand Prix Wallonie, this is one which Van der Poel won, don't know why I didn't pick him, so therefore we did a pretty rubbish job, but we did have Philipsen and Turns. Cockard was there, but Oliver Narsson, Lise and Gestel didn't really do too much. Disappointing one, should have gone with Van der Poel, definitely a lesson learned there. Coppa Sabatini, good one because we had Martinez. Some other good riders just all around really, just scoring highly. Of course, could have had guys like Piccolo perhaps and Odd Christian Eiking, but 400th overall is just ticking along nicely in these results. The Primus Classic got lucky in that we chose Jordi Meus, and apart from that, it was alright. Dali, Philipsen, there was a crash near the end, so I remember that we got quite lucky with Meus finishing in first place, so really happy that we got that because that was another one for the Gregario game. World Champs, I was again picked Pogačar because I was just like afraid of not picking him, and we picked Wout. Got some good 6 points in Schmidt and Skelmos. This team would have done so much better if that group would have stayed away. Madouas I backed after Luxembourg. Binny, I don't remember what happened to Binny, but 8 pointers as an 8-point rider, he just seemed like an absolute must have pretty much. Yeah, pretty happy with that. Of course, Evenepoel won. Could have picked him instead of Pogačar, but I was never really considering picking Evenepoel, finishing 600 there, so that's pretty good for a Category 1 race. Giro dell'Emilia, we had Mass, so that was a really good one. for the Gregario game. Also had Pots of Evo, but then other guys like Yates, Martin didn't really do too much, so a little bit disappointing in the fact that I could have picked up probably a really high result, probably like top 50, but these guys just didn't really perform. Copper Bernocchi, this was again pretty good. I can't remember who won this race, but we had Trenton Strong and Garcia Cortina again backing Viviani. I really backed him quite a few times this year upon reflection, which I shouldn't have done. Clivi Valacine, again good result, 21st in the world, so probably one of my higher results of the year. Great performance. Pogacar, Kuznetsov, Valverde, Higuita, and then it was only really the two lower pointers who didn't score, so can't really be too upset about that. Of course, if we got somebody in there, we would have finished, like, could have competed for the victory there. Gran Piemonte had Garcia Cortina with the win, so we had a really good streak here of just like picking the correct guys, and Mohoric as well. That was about it really, finishing 100th with just like 2 riders, but that was just again a hard one to predict. I think it was just a mix of sprinters and climbers fighting out for the victory there. Il Lombardia finishing aside top 600, not bad. Pogacar with a win, Mass there as well. Expected more from Iran. Pots of Evo I think crashed or something like that. Valverde, yeah, pretty good as well. Should have gone with like a Piccolo instead of Fortunato though. That would have definitely helped out quite a bit. And then the last race, Paris Tours, we did okay, finishing inside the top 500. Getting Demar with a win, Louvel as well, Trentin. It was more of a sprinting race compared to what I thought it would be, which was a rather attritional race, a bit like the 2021 edition. But overall, we finished 28th in the world. I'm really happy with that. I think it's going to be quite hard for me to beat that next year, but put in the comments down below what your best results were. Did I make any recommendations that you particularly remember, that you're kind of thankful that I suggested? Put them all in the comments down below. And all there's left to say is to keep safe out there. Merry Christmas, and I'll see you in the next video. Salut!